Hello and welcome. I'm Jessica Brown, Mrs. Colorado Universal 2021. This is another episode of Beyond the Barbie, Powerhouse Paper Dolls, going below the surface with beautiful women to ask who inspires the women who inspire us. This is the interview I've been most looking forward to. This is the woman who has inspired me most. This is my mom, Dr. Lesley Evans. Thank you for sitting down with me, Mom.
You're welcome, honey. My pleasure.
I'm getting giggly like I'm fangirling for my mom. So where I always start is with who has inspired you.
That's a good question, but I'd like to wait till the end to answer that. Last question.
Took one question for her to take over my interview. Okay, so we will start with the things that connect us. This is called Paper Dolls because we link each interview to the woman before and the woman after. And I am guessing on this, but I'm guessing that you have in common with the other woman that your greatest fear is losing your daughter. Is that your greatest fear? Just say yes.
Losing
my
me,
daughter? Yes.
Am I going to lose you?
If you don't answer correctly. I thought it was rhetorical, but man, oh man. All right, well, we're going to go on to a different question that I think she has in common. And what I think you have in common with the person before is that you love the sound of ocean waves.
Oh, yes, I do. That is my favorite sound.
There we go. All right. See, I thought the other one was leading. And yeah. At least we can agree on the ocean.
Oh, good.
So I would really like for my mom to tell some stories. These stories shaped me as I was growing up. These are how I see an ideal woman, what it means to be independent and powerful. My mother was the first female in a ministry role in Campus for Christ?
Youth for Christ.
Youth for Christ.
It was a campus life division
of
Youth for Christ.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about that job.
Well, when I graduated with my undergraduate degree, I had volunteered with an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ in college. It was an equal number of men and women on staff, but I wanted to work with high school students who I loved. So I went to an organization.
This was before me.
Oh, way before you.
Because that's changed.
So I went to an organization that I know did that. That was Youth for Christ. And they hired me in a ministry position. What I didn't know is I was the first female in the entire country hired in a ministry position. And
it's my mom.
And it was interesting. After I'd been on staff for a few months, I received a letter addressed to me personally from the president of the organization. And the letter said, "We prayed for you by name today." And the letter was addressed to Mr. Lesley Mahan. So I thought, well, that's just a mistake. A few months later, I received a second letter. "We prayed for you by name today," addressed to Mr. Lesley Mahan. So I thought, I took the letter to our director, showed it to him. He read it and he grinned. And he said, "I didn't know how the national office would respond to us hiring a woman in a ministry position." This was a long time ago, of course. So I just gave them your name when I was giving them our staff names, and they just made that assumption. That was pretty consistent.
And he just didn't correct it.
No, he did not correct it, although they eventually did learn. I began to train other women coming into the organization in ministry positions. And by the time I left, there were many. I worked for them for 9 years. But after my first year, to give you an idea of what it was like for a woman in a ministry position in those days, my director told me, "You know, Lesley, you're so talented. It's too bad you're not a man." And I took it as a compliment because I know that's how he meant it. But I thought, this organization is so back in the dark ages. And that told me I really had my work cut out for me.
Yeah.
Because not only did we need more women on staff, the 50% of the high school students we worked with were girls.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of
representation.
Yes, absolutely. They needed role models. They needed to know they could do anything. as women.
That is the perfect lead in to one of the favorite things my mom has ever been told. It is a phrase that completely defines what I want to be as a woman, as a title holder. You were called what?
Well, can I just give a little context?
Yes, that's why I didn't blow the punchline. So okay. Yes, go ahead.
Your father and I were living in Chicago, where he was finishing up his undergraduate degree at Trinity College. And I worked in the retail department of a travel agency, planning group tours, and eventually I escorted a number of international tours. And we had the Billy Graham contract for tours to the Holy Land. So I worked with this minister a number of times. And he never said this to my face, but he would tell other people, he referred to me as an iron fist in a velvet glove, because I tried to do things with kindness and grace and directness and honesty, but I took care of business.
I keep telling her she should put that on her business card. I mean, it's just the best thing. I love it so much. It's so visual and accurate. I really love that one. I love that one. So some of the questions that I ask women in these interview series is about travel, and you are very well traveled when you did all of those tours. So if you could go anywhere right now, where would you go?
Well, there are a lot of places I haven't been, but I would, if I had my druthers, I would go to one of two places where I have been at least 2 or 3 times and loved. One is Italy, and our heritage is Italian, and I love Italy. It's so beautiful.
She actually tracked one of our living relatives to a little village in northern Italy.
Pizzarana Soldizio.
That
about 3 hours due east of Rome, and I went there, and my driver acted as a translator for me, and we found a cousin. It was wonderful.
So neat.
Yes.
So neat.
Yes. He was Dr. Cellini, and trained in geology, but he was a journalist.
And we are distant cousins of Chihuly?
No, I don't know what Chihuly's background is. He's a glass blower, but we claim, although I'm not sure.
Claim it. It's the internet.
Claim it.
It's the internet. Good as gold.
In the Renaissance, there was a famous goldsmith by the name of Cellini, and Cellini was my grandmother's maiden name. So we like to believe that we're related to him.
It works.
Works for me.
It's all you need. We have plans to travel to Egypt. That's one that we've always wanted to do.
Oh, that is the second one. Right.
So we kind of did our lives in reverse. My mother traveled and then had me. I had my child very, very young. And so now I get to travel. So I get to be a grown-up and travel with my mom. But if you could live anywhere else, where would you want to live? Miami?
Oh, well, Miami I loved when I lived there. But anywhere else, I'd like to live out of the country, maybe Paris,
that'd be fun.
maybe even Rome.
That'd be really nice.
Yes.
That'd be really nice.
Absolutely.
So where we end each interview is with, what would you like your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
Well, we haven't talked about my work.
Yeah. So my mom, I introduced her as Dr. Lesley Evans. She has a PsyD. So I was along for the ride as when you got your master's too, right? Wasn't it that after I was born?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have memories of her writing her doctoral thesis, and after every, chapter or, small victory, we would go to Red Lobster and have shrimp cocktail and the cheesy biscuits. And she would be up, typing her dissertation on a typewriter in the bathroom in the middle of the night, because it's where it was quiet. So she put herself through school as she was a single mom. And she is now a psychotherapist, and she's been in practice for
37 years.
37 years. Yes. 37 years.
Right.
Wow. And she's really, really good. I mean, really, really good. So is your legacy your work?
Yes. I would say that I have a quiet legacy, that you can't find my legacy by Googling my name. That my legacy, I also taught in 2 different graduate schools.
UNC adjunct faculty.
Yes, and also University of Colorado, Denver, and their graduate program as well. And I'd like to think that I have a legacy for the students who I've helped prepare to do what I do, to help other people grow and heal. And hopefully I've inspired some of them. But my main work has been as a psychotherapist. I've worked with hundreds of people over the years, more high school students, adults, lots of couples. And my legacy is also the lives that I have touched, the people I have helped to heal, the lives I have saved, even.
The things that your clients have come back and said to you, what sticks out when I say that? What's the best thing a client has ever said to you?
That I saved their life.
Yeah. But you've heard that more than once, huh?
Yes, a few times.
Yeah.
People don't walk through my door unless they're desperate.
It's true.
And most people even walk through my door believing they're hopeless, that they can't really be helped. That's not true, but that's what they believe.
It was a goal of mine to keep moving forward in my nutritional training. And obviously I've spent my life in movement training, and kind of partner with my mom so that she could do the cognitive behavioral therapy. And then they could come to me for the other pieces. Because there's a Jim Carrey quote that said, talks about how, antidepressants and counseling are necessary when needed. But if you are not, eating the right foods and drinking water and out in the sunshine, you're just not giving yourself a fighting chance. And so I would love to partner with my mom and have somebody see both of us so she could talk through, the issues that they're having, and then I could help put together the physical parts of it. So that's, I see us living in a little village in Italy and doing these little virtual co-counseling. Yes. from our little village.
Yes, right.
So what, you're going to have to end up with where we started.
Who inspires me?
Who inspires you?
There are 2 women who inspired me. The first is my mother. She was not a professional woman. She was not even an educated woman, but she was a wonderful woman. She was kind and compassionate, and she believed that whatever you do well. And whatever she did beautifully. So that inspired me.
It's my Nona.
And I'm not sure I can say the next one without crying.
The
other woman who inspired me is you. You've always been a go for it kind of person, which was a little annoying when you were young. But as an adult, and especially in the last 2.5 years, when you have dealt with daily migraines, sometimes debilitating migraines, that you have just kept going. And then when you're in too much pain to keep going, you stop. And then when you can go ahead, go again, you go again. Yeah. And whatever you do beautifully.
And sober.
Sober. And I'm so proud of you. So you inspire me as well, sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't start there.
Yes.
I've talked about my sobriety openly, but there was about 2 years of trying to get sober, which was frankly harder than obviously for me, than the time that I was enjoying my addiction. And my mom really just got me through it, because recovery can be really ugly. It can be brutal and
heartbreaking.
Yeah. And my mom was there to hold my hand or my hair, whatever. And I remember being in a meeting on her birthday, and I really, really wanted that to be my sobriety date. I just so wanted that, to be able to give that to her. And it was a month and a half later, but every chip that I've gotten, my 30 days and 90 days and year, I get one from my mom, and I give one to her. this is me. This is my soil. This is my nature
Of all
and
the
nurture.
things you've done that have taken courage, and you've done many that took the most courage for you. And I'm most proud of that.
Thank you, Mom. I love you.
I love you too, baby.
My mother was the inspiration for this, the iron fist and a velvet glove, which now looking back, I wish I would have called the interview series that. This woman is everything I hope to be. She's everything I rebelled against when I was younger. And the older I get and the more I see her in me, the more honored I am to be more and more like you and like Nona.
Yes.
So thank you for talking with me today.
My pleasure, baby.
This is my mom, Dr. Lesley Evans. I'm Jessica Brown, and this is Colorado Universal 2021. And this wraps up Powerhouse Paper Dolls before my national competition. This is USA Universal. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, babe.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.